three buttons in the upper right and choose playback speed, and you can speed it up. As we try to discern and make sense of what's going on in the news and the world, I just want to give a perspective to consider. This is really a battle between two sides. On one side, we have globalism. This is one world government, one set of laws that controls everybody. And on the other side, we have what I'll call sovereignty. I spelled this wrong. There's a G in there. And liberty. And these are the major players in this battle. And the first one I want to start with is the Rothschilds. They, through their banking industry and owning the central banks in just about every country on the planet, you'll see their circle includes just about everybody. It probably shouldn't include Russia. Russia kicked them out. I'm not sure how much influence they still have on the central banking, but back in, I think it was 2013, Putin had all their debts paid off and kicked all of their companies out, and the Rothschilds are not even allowed to go into Russia, which is really nice. But they have a tremendous amount of influence over just about everybody through the monetary system. Now, some of these other countries like China and Russia are working on other currencies and kind of moving away from the Rothschild banking system because it is built on fiat money that's just kind of made up and not really backed by anything. But so they have a tremendous amount of influence. Second in power really on this side is the corrupt Saudi princes. This is Al-Walid bin Talal and so some of the other ones that were tied to Citibank and Twitter and Hollywood and a bunch of other places around the world, really, funding terrorism and doing lots of stuff. Then we have Soros with Black Lives Matter. Sorry, this is hard to read. Media Matters and some election fraud stuff going on. The Bush, Clinton, Obama gang is also on the side of globalism. And then we have a bunch of our three-letter agencies, the DNC, the DOJ, FBI, CIA, Fed, CFR, the seventh floor of the Pentagon, the Secret Executive Service we've recently heard about. A couple you probably don't know, the National Geospatial Agency and National Reconnaissance Office, but they're also very, very large organizations. The Trilateral Commission, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, EPA and FDA to some degree are involved, and obviously the rhinos, the Republicans in name only. A lot of these are going to be taken care of. DNC's pretty much knocked themselves out of the picture. DOJ's being cleaned up. It's going to take a little time. FBI's being cleaned up. It's going to take a little time. CIA, I think, is going to be totally gone. Much of that is already done. The Fed is going to be dealt with in a different way, I think, a little later. CFR is going down. They admitted the other day that what they call the liberal world order is in trouble. So they're also a bit on the run there. Then Germany also with Angela Merkel is also very globalist, obviously leading the charge with the European Union should also be in here. The European Union and also actually the UN. These are organizations that on the surface, okay, above board, have some valid points. It's kind of nice that you don't have to change money all the time in Europe, and going through borders is easier. And so there are some viable points to argue with that. But what's not good about it is they write all the laws in Brussels, and those supersede all the laws in Germany and UK and the Netherlands and anywhere else. And that's what the TPP was going to be for us. They didn't talk a lot about that, but those were actually a bunch of laws that were written that would have superseded the Constitution wherever there might have been conflict. So if we had a law in the Constitution that we wanted to enforce and it conflicted with the TPP law, we just wouldn't be able to do it. So we don't want that sort of control. Obviously, nations can cooperate in the ways that the EU and the UN intended to do and were set forth to do. But these bodies right now are not headed up by people who have good global interests in mind for sovereignty and liberty of the people. They're more in for globalism, and we should just take control here of the population. Can you see that? Big Pharma is also involved, obviously. Monsanto, a big player in globalism. They've been, chosen to, be the food producer for what they see as this one world government, and obviously the MSM. Now, the MSM is many of these are tied to the MSM, and they use the MSM. The MSM has a couple of little ears on it. That's to show that it's really just a puppet. It really doesn't make its own decisions and think and act on its own volition. It acts in the interest of other, especially this one, of other larger bodies. Okay, now in the middle we have, well, let's go back over to the left side. On the sovereignty and the liberty side, what I consider to be the good guys, we have Trump, and the U.S. being helped by the U.S. military and also his base, which we'll just call Patriots. Obviously, they're on this side. And then we have Russia. Now, Russia, although the MSM, and there's lots of talk, and we do have issues with sanctions and the whatever the issue might be, election meddling or use of chemical weapons and so forth. We're going to have issues there. But when you consider the globalism versus sovereignty fight, they are very much on this side because they kicked the Rothschilds out in 2013. Putin has gone on record saying that the New World Order worships Satan. They are not good players for the people. And the way this is drawn around Russia is around it goes through part of Syria and Iran because they have a lot of influence on Syria and Iran. And so, Trump and Putin, I think, are working together. And we've already seen some of the cooperation in Syria. They didn't talk much about it. But once we had a little issue there, I think we accidentally killed some of their people and they had an emergency meeting. And we basically pretty much finished up our little area and then let them finish up. Even the final news reports were saying U.S.-backed troops finished off ISIS. So we had a much lesser role and really let Syria take care of that. And I think this administration I know they have talked about not really doing nation building, asking some of these countries that have more influence in their area to police their area better. And I think that's going to be easier now that some of these people have been have been neutralized. So the Rothschilds, I didn't mention this, but the Rothschilds have been quite crippled, and to a large degree their grip has to exert power and influence in various places around the world has been seriously diminished. Also, the corrupt Saudis have also been neutralized. Saudi Arabia is now working together with Israel to solve problems in the world. A couple of 2 or 3 weeks after the president left from his trip over there to Saudi Arabia, 40 nations got together and created a coalition against corruption and terrorism, and they have been stopping the flow of funds through Qatar and some of the other places that were getting to the wrong hands. So those things are also being cleaned up. Soros is on the run. We got his right-hand man was taken down, and a lot of his assets have been frozen due to the executive order that was written on December 21st of 2017. So he's also lost a lot of his power. The Bush, Clinton, and Obama gang I think also are pretty much on the run. There's 18,000 plus sealed indictments in the 94 or 96, I think it is, federal district courts around the country. We've been watching that grow since early November when it was only like 5 or 6, and it's really taken off. And we've seen a few of them released. They're not big names, so they don't get a lot of talk, but those are happening. I think these guys have also been very much disempowered, along with the DNC. We talked about some of these are being taken care of. And this is a really big one. The 7th floor of the Pentagon. Q told us, it's probably been a month and a half or so ago. Today's March 28, 2018. That the 7th floor is no more. And we know what that means. There's a special floor on the Pentagon, the 7th floor, which is special access only. Only certain people are allowed to go there. It's what they call the pillar of continuity of government. And it was directing a lot of the actions of the Pentagon and I think the government in general for a really long time, not in the interests of the people. So back over here to Russia. And what we're seeing, Trump just tweeted a couple of days ago or a week or so ago that he called Putin to congratulate him on his election victory. This is like his fourth or fifth time he's been elected over there. Not consecutive, by the way. He spent 2 terms out, and they brought him back in. And that all this, hogwash on TV about him not getting along and them having trouble is not true. Any nation is going to have conflict in trade. I meant to write this out here. All of these countries are going to have issues with trade. They're going to have issues with borders. They're going to have issues with currency. And trade includes energy and all those sorts of things. So every country is going to have those conflicts. So, for us to say, oh, well, Russia's all bad because they're fighting with us over Syria because they want Syria to run a gas line through Syria and therefore they're not our friend at all, is really to only look at the small picture. We have to expect these things. There's also going to be spying. You catch somebody spying, that's not a reason to go to war. The countries do that. And we accept that. And now and then we catch some of theirs, and when they catch some of ours, and a lot of times we trade them back and forth. Every now and then one goes to prison or might be executed if it was really bad. But these are not reasons unless they just really, really go too far. But even then, we do it too. So we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater over these issues. In the larger scheme of things, Russia is a key ally against globalism, which is why the media and all of these guys are trying to make as much conflict as they can, making it up, in many cases, between Putin and Trump or Russia and the U.S. To try to keep us apart. And to some degree, I think the good guys are letting that play because it keeps them off their guard. If they think that they're winning or that Russia is not on their side. And I think Trump and Putin are working together a lot more than we realized. In fact, he's indicated that. But we hear so much of the Russia is the fault of everything, and it's the evil empire, that it's hard for us to remember that. Now, Saudi Arabia has really turned a corner. They have a young prince named Mohammed bin Salman, who for years now has had a reformation plan for Saudi Arabia, and that is to bring women back into business and driving cars and allowed to go to football games or sporting events and what have you, and giving them some rights back and get some of the fundamentalism out. And recently the king gave him power, and they got rid of the bad guys, the Al-Walid bin Talal mainly. And so Saudi Arabia is doing some good stuff, and they're actually cooperating with Israel now, and so is Israel, on some of their common issues, terrorism in the area, the Mullah, the Hezbollah, and some of the other political factions that are vying for power. France is kind of in between. They've certainly been on the globalist side. Macron, I think, also is primarily a globalist, but I know that Trump has been working with him. And you got to remember, some of these people are just puppets, and they're just doing what they're told to do by the people who have a boot on their neck. And that some of them, if you remove that boot from their neck, they're okay to play along, as long as they get something out of it. They can keep power or have a ceremonial office of some sort. So I think we're going to see France moving in the direction of sovereignty once they have an opportunity and won't get crushed by some of these people who, as I said, are losing their grip on lots of things. Japan also, I'm not really totally sure. This one's a little bit complicated. There's some currency issues that I may not have taken into effect, but I think they're going to play along also if they can get some of the negative factions away from them. Australia, closely tied to United Kingdom, I think they're not going to be that hard to bring on board once we get some of these other factions that are also controlling them out of the way. Now, United Kingdom has been the head of the snake for a long time, and in some ways still is. But Trump made it clear, and Q also referenced it, that deals have been made with May, and also that MI6 and the SIS, some of the intelligence services over there, have been cooperating. So I think that has a decent chance of turning around and moving in our direction. And I think that's what the British people want also. So that's just my opinion. Plenty of this is arguable, but in general, this is pretty accurate. Japan. I already talked about Japan. Japan twice. Oh, I know why I did it again, because I wanted to show Japan here close to North Korea and China, because China has a little bit of influence over Japan, and certainly a ton of influence over over North Korea. So here's my puppet ears again, because North Korea is, Kim Jong-un, I really don't think makes a lot of decisions. I think he's been under control of the CIA and probably some other factions, and has just been used as a proxy to hold the world kind of hostage, by threatening war, threatening nukes, and taking money and distributing that to whoever can get their hands on it. So, but that has been, according to Q, that's been taken care of. He told us about a month or so ago, Asian CIA black ops sites shut down, and he also indicated that we've met with Kim Jong-un's cousin, that Trump or someone from his team has met with them while I think Trump met with Kim Jong-un's cousin, who was chosen by Kim to do this while he was in Beijing during the Asia trip. And that obviously we know that the meeting in South Korea went really well. The South Korean people were all smiles when they were talking about it on the news, and we've seen pictures of Kim Jong-un shaking hands with, I think it's Moon is the prime minister's name there in South Korea, and Kim just has a huge smile on his face. It's a double-handed handshake. I think he's just really happy to not be, under someone's thumb. And maybe his, people are saying that there's going to be unification there. I think it's very likely, and that he'll get a ceremonial position like a king or queen, might have, but with no real power and influence. And it's probably going to be freedom and peace in Korea. And that's going to mean some freedom and peace for us, too, because the rest of the world. Because I think that was one area that was really holding a lot of the world hostage. Now, there were other people using them to do that and saying, oh, it's not me, it's North Korea. And that's what we call a proxy. And there's a lot of that going on in here. So I think that's why you're going to see it's easy for a lot of these bad guys to turn, because many of the people in the FBI and the DOJ, and I don't know about the DNC, but some of these other places are not bad people. It's the ones at the top and the ones that belong to the SES. This is another network that's tied into many of the United States government agencies, non-government agencies, regulatory agencies, it's intelligence agencies, etc., that are only in the top 3-4 positions, but that make all the major decisions and help cover up the stuff they don't want to come out. So this is also being dealt with. This is kind of a new thing to me. I'm not sure what the details are on this.